Hey everyone, we're at CES 2020, and this is our first suite of the show. We already did a video here, but it's going up a bit later. It is of the Intel NUC, the socketable computer that sockets into a PCIe slot. So you can check that out separately. But now we're talking at Cyberpower suite about some of their systems they have, mostly from the case front, because I find some of the cases are unique in the very least. And in this instance, it is a case made by my nemesis, Der Bauer. Before that, this video is brought to you by Thermaltake's ToughRAM RGB memory, available from 3000 MHz up to 4400 MHz in 8 GB by 2 configurations. The Thermaltake ToughRAM uses 10 addressable RGB LEDs for bright illumination and comes in both black and white kits of memory. Learn more at the link in the description below. So this is the Lian Li O11 Dynamic. You've all seen this, of course. We've covered it. We used the larger version recently in our $24,000 PC build we did. And the version that, or I guess what Cyberpower has done that's interesting is you may have seen the EK Distro Plate for a long time now, and I know a lot of people have been asking us when they can get one, and I know they were asking Lian Li when they can get one. So Lian Li really was trying to push for the EK Distro Plate, but EK kind of dragged its feet on it. So where that occurred, there's been opportunity. And Cyberpower, although they're not selling the stuff separately because it's a system integrator, you buy the whole system on the website, they have fulfilled the demand for a distro plate. They're working with Bitspower on this one. And it looks pretty good. I mean, it's got distro plate on the front, and then, so internally it's all straight shot tubing, and there's a large CPU block from Bitspower, and then the GPU block. And I guess really for the most part, this is all kind of Lian Li O11 dynamic territory, which I don't need to cover that whole case again. It's got a D5 pump though, I will point that out. But I just wanted to showcase the distro plate because a lot of people asked us about that for the last 4 events now actually. Last couple CESs and Computexes. So if you want one, Hyperliquid 2, Cyberpower sells it. It's a full system build though, that's the only downside. So if you want to do DIY, then you're out of luck there. Next ones, so this case, this is the Illuma. This is the one where I'll be a little bit more critical, and then we'll look at some of the more interesting, unique stuff after this. So it's a small box. It's the most budget-oriented case that Cyberpower's got on the table here. And the only problem that I currently have is the intake on the side. I'm pretty sure everyone saw this coming when you saw the case on camera. But intake on the side is super limited, and it's got the cooler master effect going on like the H500P, where the fans are pushed out to the extent that the intake is actually mostly behind the fans, not in front of them, so they're not able to really take advantage of it. So I'd like to see that improved, but it sounds like there's still more work happening on this case. So we'll keep an eye on this one for improvements in the future. But I mean, it's pretty standard closed off ventilation that you see in a lot of the mid towers right now. So nothing really new there, but it's glass and it's cheap, and I guess that's sometimes what you're going for. Let's move on to another one that's more interesting though. So the next case, I should note that, well, first of all, we're in a hallway, it's echoing, I'm gonna lower my voice. But these cases, since it's Cyberpower, it's an SI, you're not gonna be able to buy these for DIY, which is the same thing we talked about last year. Cyberpower has done some custom work in the past with Fantex, for example, and you're not able to buy those cases separately. So it's fun to look at, and I don't know, sometimes if there's enough interest, maybe things happen. Otherwise, you have to buy it on the website through a full system build. This one's the Amethyst. I did want to show this because this, to my knowledge, has not been done before, and we'll show footage of the backside, but on the backside, it is a tempered glass panel split with steel. So you've got the dichotomy, I guess, between steel and glass. Typically, what you'll see is either just straight glass, straight steel, or maybe something like the Lian Li Landcool 2, where it's 2 separate doors that open individually, which doesn't really count. So what they're doing here is taking a blackout glass panel and basically gluing it to the steel, and it is a pretty expensive glue solution. So gluing it to the steel, and that's really the only way to manufacture it, because the challenge is when you're dealing with trying to split the panels like this, there's really no way to secure everything efficiently in a cost-effective way, and also have it look the way it does with the cuts. So I guess the reasoning behind Amethyst is it kind of resembles Amethyst, but it was an interesting case design that I haven't really seen in DIY. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see something like this pop up at some point in DIY, just because there's a lot of copycats in DIY. or if Cyberpower maybe sells it later, but I doubt that's going to happen. So anyway, that's the Amethyst. The build itself, I mean, it's just whatever you custom configure on the website, so there's not a lot of point in talking about that. It is a deep cool, Cyberpower branded deep cool cooler though. You can see that through there. And then for ventilation, there's just a hole in the top and a hole in the bottom, and then there's a big hole in the top of the case for 3 fans that look like are currently 120, but could be 140. So that's going to be the Amethyst systems. Let's move on to the last one, which is a set of cubes. Okay, so this one, it hurts me because it looks actually pretty cool, and it strikes me as a rich person computer in that it seems like the kind of thing you just put in the middle of your living room at your home theater PC as a talking piece, I guess. It's a cube PC. We've seen these before. Omen's done them. Cyberpower has been doing them for years now in different versions, like this larger one behind me. Slightly modified from previously, but we've seen this case before. So it's not like it's a new concept, but it looks good in a mini ITX box. It's all aluminum and glass. The problem I have with it, again, is the same thing where this front fan, so it's a larger fan, which is lower static pressure, which does worse with constrained intake. And you've got, I don't know, like a 1/2 inch of intake on all sides, three out of 4 sides of the panel. And then the shroud for the fan is pushed up almost completely against the glass. So that fan's doing literally nothing, I'm pretty sure. There's a small fan in the back of the case for exhaust. And what's going to end up happening here is a negative pressure setup. So anywhere the air can come in, it's going to come in and hit that CPU downdraft cooler and the exhaust, because there's no real positive pressure because this fan's not actually doing anything, and also it's a lower static pressure fan since it's larger. So it's the same challenge as before, where it's a cool looking case, and this should cost customers about $200 for the case. So if you do a build through Cyberpower's website and you're choosing between ITX systems, this is a delta of about $200 for the fancy case. So it looks cool. It's just I want to see a solution to the thermal or the functional challenge. One of the things we were talking about with Cyberpower was lights that have function, but I think also fans should have function. So that needs an improvement, but the distro plate on the O11 looks really good for the positives. The Intel NUC with the cooler master case that we saw, you'll see it in a separate video, has some really interesting design and assembly. And then the Amethyst is something that I'm honestly pretty sure we're going to see a copycat of. I just don't know who it's going to be, but you'll probably see one on the DIY market. We'll have to, when it comes out, make sure you tag me on Twitter and say, Steve, you called it, because I'm pretty sure I just called it. So that's it for the Cyberpower suite. Some cool stuff, some things I want to see improved for next year for fans, but hey, at least there's some cool stuff in here. And overall, there's, I think I'm most interested in the distro plates. We're going to see a lot of those this year, actually. It's kind of a trend for CES 2020. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Go to patreon.com/gamersnexus. Helps out directly. And I'll see you all next time.